Okay, so today for my persuasive speech, I'm going to be talking about unhealthy school lunches. And the whole goal of this speech is to help persuade the audience to support more government spending on healthy school lunches and to fund more school education programs in primary and secondary schools throughout the United States. So, alongside with our government, we have the USDA, which is the United States Department of Agriculture, slowly killing our childhood population. Lunches approved by the USDA and served in school cafeterias across America are making our nation's children sick, fat, and unhealthy. As a college graduate who has completed my entire academic career in primary and secondary schools in the U.S., I know firsthand the negative impact of having unhealthy school lunches. Growing up, I was morbidly obese, more than I am now, and I think that I can contribute it to the fact that in school they would serve us mostly things like cheeseburgers, cookies, brownies, French fries, just things that did not have a lot of nutritious value for us. Um, so I just wanted to point out that this is a serious problem that all children face today, and even if you have kids of your own, that affects them as well. So I want to take the time to educate everyone on how severe this issue is and how providing early interventions in schools will be the first step in overcoming the childhood obesity epidemic that we have in America today. So a little bit of statistics for you. America spends around billions of dollars on healthcare costs to treat the rising childhood obesity crisis when they really should be putting their resources into the meals served to our children at the school. So we are trying to compensate for the excess spending on obesity-related healthcare by cutting school lunch program costs. Okay, so the estimated annual healthcare cost of obesity-related illness is around $190.2 billion dollars. So that's for children and adults. Just for childhood obesity alone, it's around $14 billion dollars annually that we spend on healthcare-related expenses. So to compare that, the National School Lunch Program spends only $11.6 billion dollars a year feeding 31 million kids. So basically, we're spending $3 billion more dollars a year to fight childhood obesity, and we're only spending 11.6 on giving them proper nutritious school lunches at school. Okay, so the bottom line here is that we aren't providing our children with the education they need about food and nutrition that we need in our schools. Instead of having food and nutrition experts in charge of major boards such as the USDA, the reality of it is that we have accountants telling them they need to go cheaper and cheaper because budgets are getting cut. You know, so sadly, what happens, the cheaper that they get, the cheaper the food is. So the less nutritional value that it carries, and you don't get those essential things in your diet that you need. This is what the USDA allows in our schools. For example, right here I have the image. I'm going to show you guys of this is an example of a school lunch at a private high school in the Bronx, New York. So as you can see, it's just a personalized individual pizza with some corn, and that is an example of uh, just one lunch at that school. And basically, what it boils down to is that it is basically just fast food, essentially. And this isn't even the meal that I found. And you can find this on the American Lunchroom blog, where they post different pictures of school lunches from around the country. And this isn't even the worst one. I picked a kind of a mediocre one to show you guys. So these images seem to conflict with what the USDA deems as their mission statement, which includes improving nutrition and health by providing food assistance and nutrition education, which clearly they aren't doing. So essentially, school is a place for learning. When children realize that the adult servers at school, and even their own parents for that matter, are allowing them to eat this food every day at school, they're going to translate that into this is what they're supposed to be eating 24 hours a day, breakfast at home and dinner wherever they go elsewhere. The solution to this problem involves America investing in their youth by putting more money into providing fresh foods in school cafeterias and implementing simple food education programs so our kids can gain the certain knowledge and skills required to live long, happy, and healthy lives. I was reading earlier that kids nowadays are dying at earlier ages than their parents because of the food that they're being given. It's not just because their overall health is not as good, and we can attribute this to part of it is because of school lunches and how they're not as nutritious as they should be. So, I was going to use a couple videos, but this one video is of Ann Cooper, and she is a TED speaker. She, it's kind of long, it's like 20 minutes, but in summary, basically, she talks about how what we feed our children in the schools is not ideal. Like they have a lot of like pesticides, a lot high fat, high carbs, high calorie counts. And what she did was she went to California and she worked in a specific school at Berkeley High School, and she was able to eliminate high fructose corn syrup, trans fats, and processed foods completely from the entire high school's lunch menu. And she implemented a cooking and gardening program at the school. So basically, the kids were able to garden and cook as a class, and then they would use this food and they would feed other kids in the school for lunch, which turned out to be a very great idea because now 25% of their food is organic and local. So they also give back to the community with purchasing all these things. And the students also learn simple healthy recipes that they can cook at home also, not just at school. And another video I was going to show, I'll attach it to this document, is that Jamie Oliver, he's pretty big in the whole health eating community. He decided to go to different elementary schools across America, and he brought a bunch of vegetables with him, and he would go. This is in front of a group of 6-year-old kids, and he pulled out tomatoes, and he would ask the kids like what this was, what vegetable it was, and then none of the kids knew what it was. They were guessing celery, broccoli, cauliflower. There was even at one point where he pulled out an eggplant and he was asking kids what it was. They all didn't know. They were just guessing turnips. And he even gave them a clue. He's like, okay, I'm going to give you guys a clue. It starts with egg. And this kid in the back said egg salad. So nothing even remotely close to eggplant. So these kids aren't learning the basic, vegetables and fruits that they need in their diets. You would think at 6 years old they would know the basic fruits and vegetables that they would need to eat. So to help with this problem, he decided to go to these elementary schools and he would present 2 1-hour food education sessions to these children, which ended up working out well. So as you can see, America is using the downstream approach to solve the childhood obesity crisis by spending billions of dollars on obesity-related healthcare when all they really need to do is spend a few more cents on each child for their meals in school, and it would help a lot with their obesity problem that we're having in today's society. As an adult who is planning to have children, I want the government to be concerned about these things. I want my kids to grow up and be able to have nutritious meals so they can be healthy, strong, and smart, and not have certain problems that a lot of kids are having today. Like, how would you expect a kid to be productive and successful in society if they're being run down with certain diseases like type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, and heart disease? As a nation, we need to teach our children that French fries are not a vegetable, potatoes are a vegetable, not French fries, and that the combination of pizza, corn, and a glass of chocolate milk is not an ideal meal that would give you the nutritious value meal that you need for the day. So that's pretty much my whole persuasive speech.